Hello, everybody, and today is April 19th. It's a Saturday, and welcome to Enjoy the Movies, where I, Nam, put in my 2 cents about movies. Now, today I wanted to do something a little bit different. One of the big things that I'm always talking about or discussing is how I'm not a huge fan of what I call movie branding. So, this is where you get directors and producers and other people that work on the movies themselves, besides just the main actors, besides people that you see. And usually some people have an association with certain types of movies and what they expect from it, depending on who makes them. So that's what I want to talk about today. The one person I really want to focus on today is Quentin Tarantino. Now, I myself am not a huge fan of this movie branding, where, oh, I'll go see a movie just because this director did it, or that director did it, or this producer, or that producer. I don't really care about that so much. I read about the plot, I find out about the plot, watch a trailer. If it seems interesting, I'll watch it. So it doesn't really matter. The only exception to that is if I know it's going to be bad. Like, there's a lot of production studios that have never been heard of before, and more than half the time, you probably don't want to watch them because they're going to end up terrible. But in my particular case, one person in which I will usually always watch movies for is Quentin Tarantino. Now, the reason for this is because I feel like he's a very eccentric and different kind of director. So I'll watch his movies. Some of the more notable movies of his that I've watched: Reservoir Dogs, 4 Rooms, Pulp Fiction, the Kill Bill series, Death Proof, and I think he's made quite a name for himself. So, needless to say, I always think he does a good job. The way that all of his movies play out, he's got a few stylistic things. Honestly, I didn't know too much about him before, but I did a little bit of research on him, and it turns out that he's a fairly interesting guy, and I have a little bit more respect for him because, okay, so I work at a video store. He used to work at a video store. That's awesome. He has a lot of central theme-like devices that he ties into a lot of his movies, i.e., there's a lot of his movies where you can see guys dressed in black suits and white shirts, so you can definitely see that. You see that in Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs. What else? You also see a Zippo lighter a lot in his movies, so there are a lot of themes like that. Now, some of the movies of his that I want to talk about, let's start with Reservoir Dogs. Just saw that recently, actually, for the first time ever. Don't bash on me. I can only watch so many movies. And it's a pretty good movie. It starts off with a bunch of people basically getting hired to do a robbery job, and what ends up happening is they have to not communicate with each other on a personal level, only refer to each other using a designated color of the rainbow. So, Mr. Black, Mr. White, Mr. Blue, Mr. Yellow, Mr. Pink, Mr. Blonde. Sorry, there's no Mr. Yellow. I lied. But anyway, so there's a bunch of different people, and some of the sticky situation comes pretty much a little bit after some of the incidents happen, and it's pretty crazy how it goes, and it's kind of vicious, and there's this one scene that's a little bit tough to watch, but other than that, the rest of the movie is very clever, and it's pretty interesting. It pretty much takes place in like this warehouse, and it's pretty good. So Reservoir Dogs, I actually say it's pretty good. Definitely recommend. Let's see. Another movie I want to talk about is 4 Rooms. Now, usually Quentin Tarantino usually does a lot of either dramatic or action stuff, or drama action. But 4 Rooms is actually a comedy, or at least I feel that it's comedy. And it has a lot of this, pessimistic kind of satirical humor in it, because it's pretty much about this bellboy who is starting his work for the first time at this new hotel, or not a new hotel, but it's a hotel that he's never worked at before, on New Year's Eve. Now, I don't understand that logic jump there. It's like, why would anybody start working on New Year's Eve? Then, pretty much each room he visits has these crazy guests, and this was a pretty interesting, clever film, too. It starts to get a little bit slower towards the end, but pretty much jumping right in, it's pretty quick-paced, and it makes a lot of sense, so... or doesn't make a lot of sense, depending on what kind of viewpoint you're taking. But the stories are outrageous, and the things that this bellboy has to go through also very outrageous. Anyway, needless to say, by the end of the movie, it definitely had you thinking like, "Whoa, that's crazy." So 4 Rooms, thumbs up. Honestly, I like most of Quentin Tarantino's things. Pulp Fiction. If you've never seen Pulp Fiction, this is probably the compulsory Quentin Tarantino film that you have to see because it's ridiculous. A lot of different scenes cut up. One of those movies where all the scenes, kind of come together towards the end in one way or other. And I think there's 2 or 3 main storylines that kind of connect. A lot of big stars: John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis. So Pulp Fiction is definitely one you have to see. Arguably, I think it's a must-see. If for any person who even likes movies remotely, you just have to watch it. So it's very good, action-packed, keeps you on the edge of your seat, and all that fun stuff. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, I just took a phone call. Sorry about that. Anyway, so Pulp Fiction, definitely a compulsory must-see. You gotta watch it. Another big notable film that he has done, more or less a couple of films, Kill Bill. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. I definitely don't feel like it really works if you split them up into 2 volumes and compare them, because pretty much it's really one long ongoing story. So I think it's fair to judge the whole of Kill Bill. And I thought it was very good, very fun, very violent, very satisfying to watch. And it's just one of those stories that gives you this feeling that you can't really easily get anymore, because it's like this spiritual journey for this woman to go, kill this person named Bill, and then you find out why she wants to kill him, and there's this past history and everything, and it's just done so well. I just like Quentin Tarantino films, with the exception of Grindhouse. Grindhouse presents Death Proof. That's the movie that he did. I won't really go in depth into this because I'll do another one about those later. But needless to say, Quentin Tarantino, I like the guy. Definitely respect him a lot. And one of the things that that I've noticed like lately in the past couple years that has made me respect him more is that he likes to present some movies that I think wouldn't normally be seen by the American public. And he doesn't actually have anything to do with these movies. He just kind of like puts in a little extra money to either bring it over to the United States or like get people to to see them. Because you might have seen movies like Hostel or Hero or Iron Monkey or The Protector, because you might have seen Quentin Tarantino presents, and more or less he really didn't do anything with these movies. He just either brought it over here to the United States or, kind of help advertise the fact that, oh, hey, you should watch this movie. So I think if he puts in that much money to, advertising and such things, it definitely brings certain movies to the forefront, especially movies that wouldn't normally have been seen by the American public. So, if you've never seen Hero, excellent movie, definitely recommend. Iron Monkey is a good movie, too. More action-packed than those, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Hero, or House of Flying Daggers, but that's a totally other episode, so I don't want to talk about this now. And The Protector, also a martial arts film, so he likes to show those off. I've never actually seen Hostel, but I've heard some mixed feelings about it, but we'll see. Anyway, so needless to say, Quentin Tarantino, for all of these reasons, I definitely respect him, and I like him a lot, so keep up the great work. Hope he keeps on showing me some new things. And although there is this qualm that Quentin Tarantino actually takes a lot of his creative work from other people's ideas, like he'll watch a movie, he sees a scene, and he tries to like copy it. So you might see some scenes that are reminiscent of older movies, especially gangster films. So who knows? But anyway, that's Quentin Tarantino for you, and that's how I feel about movie branding. Typically, I'll never watch movies just because somebody's name is there. But if I see some names there and it seems like a decent plot, I'll watch it. Unless it's, certain people. There's just certain people. Like, I'll watch Quentin Tarantino films. I'll watch... I usually watch Nicolas Cage films when he's, like, the main actor. It's... I don't know why, because he chooses a lot of different roles and I like it. But anyway, so... hopefully that was fun. I really had nothing to do today, so I was like, well, let's record something. So, anyway, you guys have a nice night. Enjoy the movies.